In humble huts all across the archipelago, important work is taking place. It is the work of teachers and students coming together to preserve tradition, blending the ancient knowledge with engaging teaching methods, enlivening for a younger audience the ways of the past, or simply bringing communities together to judge what is valuable, what must be taken on the journey forward. In this season of DAYAW, we visit the schools of living traditions to listen to the voices of those who have made it their mission to preserve cultures, to see in the eyes of the young a world that they will gladly inherit, preserve, and pass on.
This is what it means to be Sisidlan, a bearer of culture, a school for living traditions. Whenever we try to understand the indigenous peoples of the Philippines, we do so by studying their art, their language, their culture. It is a good start. While material and intangible culture may contain much of their traditional knowledge, the effort to truly understand a culture extends to the historical, social, and economic realities that continue to shape the life of a community. The lives of the indigenous peoples are more than just their crafts or their costumes. It is their vanishing forests, their marginalization, their exclusion from the national agenda that make them what they are today. How do they respond to the social realities that have shaped their lives? What elements of their culture are valuable and dynamic? And how do they come to terms with the present while holding on to the knowledge of the past?
The ATI or Aeta are considered the original dwellers of the Philippines. Nomadic hunter-gatherers who have stored vast knowledge about the environment. They are found in almost all areas of the archipelago. From the lowlands of Luzon to the vast jungles and mountain ranges of the Visayas. Their knowledge of the forest has not only resulted in a vast store of survival techniques, but in a lifestyle that values balance and sustainability. Long before low carbon footprint became a concern for us, the ATI of the Philippines were already treading lightly on the environment.
Pangabuhian namon dire simple lang.
Ang pamumuhay daw ng mga ate ay simple lang. Meron naman po silang mga lupain na pwedeng pagtaniman. Tapos ang gawi po ng mga kinaugalian po ng mga ate ay sa tuwing tag-init, lumalabas sila at naghahanap buhay. Tapos pag sakaling tag-ulan na, bumabalik sila para magkaroon ng mga iba't ibang klase ng mga kakanin.
One of the most enduring legends, and perhaps one of the most telling, concerns the barter of Panay Island. Though mythical at best, the legend tells of 10 Malayan datus and their clans feeling the cruelty of a despot king. They crossed the seas and landed in Panay, which was inhabited by the ATI, under the rule of their king, Haring Marikudo. The legend states that the Malayan datus offered Marikudo a golden salakot and his wife Reina Maniwang Tiwang a long golden necklace in exchange for the fertile lowlands of Panay. Marikudo, beguiled and delighted by this gold trifle, accepted the offer and retreated to the mountains, where the ATI have lived ever since. The legend is a basis for the popular Ati-Atihan festival. Much as we may find the legend amusing, it points to our own perceptions of the Atis as a people who would trade valuable natural resources for glittery trifles. A much more realistic story would trace the gradual retreat of the Ati to the uplands as their lands were settled on by the Malay. Thus, the historical narrative is changed. The move to the jungles and mountains becomes not a voluntary act, but a result of encroachment. Yet another chapter in the wandering life of the Ati. In Negros Occidental, in a settlement ironically named after the Ati king who traded land for gold, an Ati community has grown and thrived.
Na 110 hectares itong lugar nila. Ang mga pamilya ngayon, I think, is more than 100. More or less 120 families na ang nandito. Ang populasyon naman nila, it's about mga 1,000 ang populasyon nila dito sa lugar na ito. Ang mga Ati po ay, ito ay mga tao na nanggaling actually sa Panay Island. Mga migrants sila dito sa Negros. At itong Marikudo ay naging settlement noong 1967, settlement ng mga Ati dito sa Negros. Nilagay sila dito para naman mabigyan sila kung anumang development ang gusto ng gobyerno, maibigay sa kanila dahil nakasettle sila sa isang lugar, dahil pag-alagala kasi sila. Noon, mga tao dito, halos hindi nakatapos ng pag-aaral. Kunti lang sa kanila nakapag-aral, hanggang elementary lang. Pero nung mga 1990s na, pumasok kami dito, 1992 actually. So nag-start kami magtulong sa kanila kung ano yung tulong na kailangan nila. Noong 1992 ay nakapunta kami dito. Yung community ko kasi, isang religious organization siya, lay community doon sa Binalbagan na composed of mga professionals. May mga doctors kami, may mga nurses. Kaya pumunta sila dito para magtulong. Isang araw actually may isang need na sinabi yung mga Ati, yung pangangailangan nila ng edukasyon. So doon nag-start. Tumulong kami sa mga scholarship program dito mula elementary hanggang college. So actually, ang unang nakatapos dito ay education student na ngayon nagtuturo sa daycare. Actually, itong SLT ay actually a dream ng mga itong cultural masters ngayon. In fact, itong local coordinating team kasama kong dalawa ay sila yung, kahit wala ako dito, sila yung nandito. So, talagang dream nila itong SLT. So nung December 2015, tinawagan ako ng NCCA na maghanap ng isang community na pwede mag-pilot ng SLT. Yung pilot project na pag iniwan na ng NCCA, talagang sustainable na siya, masustain na siya. So pag-iwan mo talagang nandyan na, patuloy pa rin siya. Kaya sabi ko, mas appropriate itong lugar na to. Kaya bumalik ako dito, sinabi ko sa dalawa at sa tribal leaders nila. At very positive naman sila. In fact, nabuhay yung dream nila. Yung dream na maipasalin, mabuhay uli yung kultura, yung nawawala na kultura.
In the School of Living Traditions in Marikudo settlement, cultural workers have discovered the principles that have guided the ATI society and ensured the survival of a people. These are alive, in use, made manifest in the daily routines, principles of social and gender equality, the values of fairness and social interaction, the primacy of language as a means for social unification. Things we are only starting to value today, the ATI have known for ages.
The focus of this School of Living Traditions is one preserving craft as a means of livelihood.
So inuna nila yung rara dahil magbibigay ito ng hanap buhay sa kanila.
Rara, or weaving, is not only a sustainable cottage industry, but also one that allows many product innovations. While there is a steady supply of material goods that come out of this school, its other important focus is on preservation of the intangible heritage of the ATI.
Ay yung lingwahe, dahil nawawala na itong lingwahe. Hindi na ginagamit ng mga bata. Yung mga bata hindi na marunong magsalita ng lingwahe nila. Kaya sabi nila, itong isa sa mga importante din na mga art forms na dapat ipasali namin sa mga tao. Para maipatuloy ang kanilang kultura, una-una, dapat ang lingwahe nila ay dapat ituro. Ang DepEd naman, actually ay may mandate sila ngayon on establishing indigenous people's education sa mga IP areas. Pero mahirap din kasi ito dahil dapat may isang teacher na IP talaga. Dahil pag hindi ka kasi IP, tuturo ka doon, paano maturo yung lingwahe? Hindi ka naman marunong. Na kahit naman hindi lisensyado ang isang teacher, kung IP naman, marunong yan ng lingwahe, dapat paturuin na yan. Kahit sa lingwahe na lang. No? Dapat may sistema din sila na sa paggawa ng curriculum na talagang mapabilis ito. Kaya para sa akin, ang School of Living Tradition ay isang genuine na IP education na talagang maipasalin itong lingwahe. Kaya dapat lahat ng mga IP, mga School of Living Tradition ay hindi mamawala itong lingwahe na ito dahil importante ito para sa isang kultura na nawawala na.
Ang pangarap po namin ay, itong SLT po namin ay sana ipagpatuloy namin tapos madagdagan pa to. Kasi po yung pinapangarap pa po namin SLT at saka yung little showroom po namin. Hinihingi pa po namin sa Panginoon na mayroon kaming library at saka mayroon kaming little showroom ilagay dito.
itong sayaw nila. Sayaw dahil ito'y identity rin nila. So dapat maibalik ito. Mayroon silang isang sayaw na yung kupoy na manok, tawag nila kupoy na manok. Yung kupoy na manok kasi isang isang roaster na yung parang pakpak niya dahil siguro sa away napilasa na. So kupoy siya parang hindi na siya pero pag nag-court siya sa isang hen, sinasayaw nila 'yan. Kahapon, may pinakita sila kahapon na pumupunta sila sa mga forest. So may mga amo tawag nila sa mga monkeys. So ranso kasi yan eh. So actually, paghanap ng makakain yan. So sinasayaw nila yan para ipakita yung pamumuhay nila.
Kasi ni mo pod si Dudo nangala kay ubayi ko ka nigtinus kunte ne. Ang pangarap ko bago pa man dumating ang araw na hindi ko na kaya, alam na ng mga bata, alam na rin ng mga magulang ang tungkol sa kultura namin.
Maguli ang tanda ko.
Ang ginapana ang halo.
We tend to idealize the schools of living traditions as a way in which we are able to, quote-unquote, extend a helping hand to the indigenous people. But no school of living traditions exists without a solid foundation in what is inherent in a culture.
Language itself is being taught to the children because many children, hardly speak their own native language. Why? Because of the influence of television and the schools where they can speak only Tagalog or English or Cebuano or Ilocano. In Negros Occidental, there are ATIs, elder ATI, who teach their children the language of the ATI because otherwise this will be forgotten. These are some of the things that we have to really consider.
Tinuturuan namin yung mga bata paano buhayin yung mga kultura namin. Tinuturuan sila kung paano mag-isip, magpinsar sa mga nagligad. Kasi gusto ko mabigyan ng buhay ang nakaraan, ang nawawala na.
Kapamana, nalimulang, mapatay. Amo lang na yaguro ang kabuhay ko. Gahando man ko nga maiwan ang kabuhay ko. Pero paano? Sa subong, upod lang danay sa huyop sang hangin. May nagamuno, papamanaho na lang ko. Para may masagod sa akon, kag sa mga bata ko. May gahambal man, maobra na lang ko kuno sa tao. Mayo lang kung buot ang amo ko, ambot, maano ko. Pero hindi na amoy ang kabuhi ko. Kay naging makasgid ko. Kag biskan budlay, biskan pigado. Nag-eskwela gid ko. Subong, second year college na ko. Kag duwa na lang katuig, teachers na ko.
Siguro kung wala ang SLT na ito, parang mahirap na maibalik yung nawawalang kultura nila eh. Dahil sa SLT na ito, maraming nangyayari actually dito. May hope sila na maging masustain nila ang buhay nila dito dahil sa SLT, dahil sa School of Living Tradition. May hope sila na talagang ang mga ate ay hindi mawawala. Ang isang maganda dito sa nakikita ko dahil mga ate na ito kasi since they are tribe, so clanis kasi sila. Clanis. May bayanihan sila. Talagang innate sa kanila yan eh, yung bayanihan system, kaya lang nawawala eventually. Pero ngayon, naibabalik itong bayanihan system na ito, DAYAW, dahil may School of Living Tradition sila.
Yung kultura namin ay mawawala na, mamamatay na. So yun ang rason na nagka-interest kami na magkaroon ng SLT at nag-volunteer din kami na kami rin ang magturo para mabuhay, para hindi mawawala kahit mahirap, kahit mapagod, kahit na ano, pero nagsasacrifice kami para lang sa kultura ng mga ate.
From this School of Living Traditions in Negros Occidental, we can learn many things. We admire the baskets and the wares they produce. We are proud of the continuing work that fosters livelihoods and sustainable industries. We're even prouder of the way our cultural workers, who are essentially outsiders to the community, have devoted their time to organizing, furthering, and helping to manage the community's skills. But let us not forget that all this time, the ATI have had it within themselves. This resilience forged from their ties to the environment, this collective memory assure them of their place in a modern world. This ability to survive without harming others or encroaching on environments, a whole sustainable lifestyle that we must help nurture and leave alone. Only then will we truly understand, perhaps even benefit from, the ATI, the original bearers of DAYAW, our knowledge, our pride.